Good afternoon. Welcome to FAFS Lecture Series. This afternoon we have a very special program, and I'm very pleased that we have the President of the World Water Council among us and some of the governors and staff of the World Water Council. I'll make an introduction later. The format based on guidance from Mr. Fauchon. The guidance is that he would like to see young people. He'd like to have an interactive session. So this would be, and unlike many of the FAFS lecture series we have in the past, he'd like to engage with young people and have more time for dialogue and discussion. So the format would be, after Mr. Fauchon's introductory remarks, we'll ask the panel to join the podium, where we will have everybody maybe have 2 to 3 minutes introductory remarks, and we'll open up for discussion. Without any further ado, it will be my pleasure, to really introduce Loïc Fauchon, whom I had the pleasure to meet in Qatar, when Qatar was looking into exploring hosting the World Water Forum. I had the pleasure at the time, I was an alternate governor with Mr. Fahd Al-Atiyah, and we had the pleasure to really meet at that time. Mr. Fauchon had a lifelong career in water issues, but also as a civil servant and as somebody who's very passionate about water and development. He is currently the president of the World Water Council, where he also was a founding member back in the about 20 years ago in Egypt. He had several hats. I will only mention a few of those. For the last 20 years, he had been very active in organizing several of the World Water Forum. His academic career started with a degree from the Institute of Political Studies in Aix-en-Provence, where he immediately after that was in public service and served as a board member, chairman of several of public as well as private enterprises. He was appointed as the general director of the water supply company in Marseille in '91. He became the chief executive officer in '97 and now serves as the president of that company. It's one of the largest water utility companies in France, and among the top worldwide, and they were very well known in excellent service and quality. He's a member of several international organizations, government and non-government, and he's also a member of the high-level expert and leaders panel on water and disasters, which is the organization called HELP. His recent appointment is as the CEO of SAFIM, which is Marseille International Exhibitions. In 2014, he was awarded at the rank of Cavalier of the French Legion of Honors in 2003. Without any further delay, please help me welcome Mr. Fauchon to the podium.
Good afternoon now, everybody. Thank you, Rabbi. I've never been in a French-American university. That's the reason I'm not very fluent in English. And sometimes when I do not find the good word, I tell it in French, so be indulgent. I hope you will understand everything. It will not be long. Rabbi has said some parts of my professional activities. There's one he has not precised, and probably the one I am the most proud. When I was your age, perhaps a little bit older, 26 or 27 years old, I've created an NGO which is working since this time in sub-Saharan Africa. I was traveling in that region because I was racing with this famous race, Paris-Dakar. And coming back, I was thinking I could not race all my life. I have to do something more useful. And I've created this NGO, which is called Trans-Sahara, and which was organizing trucks convoy in the 19s to help the children in the Tuareg tribes. It has been very important in my life to understand not only the water problems, the water issues, but also all the development issues. Because this part of the world, the desert, are not only the poorest, but also the place where stay in life is very difficult. And all my life, in all activities, I'm always thinking to that, and I'm always going in in these regions when I have a few days free. So I'm very pleased to be in front of you today. I'm the president of the World Water Council. Again, say some friends, because I was a president from 2005 until 2012. We met, as you say, and I'm again the president because during the last elections, all my colleagues, they didn't find any candidate to be president, so I've been elected without being candidate. But I'm very proud to be president of the World Water Council. Why? Because water is one of the most interesting issue, because water is life. And without water, you could not have any development, any dignity for people who are missing. The World Water Council today is an important international organization in the field of water, probably the most important, with 400 international organizations, international, national, local sometimes organizations, and 65 to 70 governments also are members, but you can find the UN agencies, all the development banks, and some parliaments, some important local authorities all over the world, but also, and that's what what is interesting, is that you can also meet small NGO, water communities from all the world, or operators like my friend here from Nairobi Water Company, which is one the best water companies in Africa, the most efficient, and he will have a few words for you also. So, what are we doing? What do we try to be? We try to be the voice of water. What does it mean, try to be the voice of water? If you are credible, if you are legible, if you have a good reputation, you could be listened. And we try to be listened by all the decision makers, mostly the political leaders. Because I do not enter in technical issues, we could answer to your questions, but it's my first message. Water is politics. Water is politics. And you could not move forward, you could not have more important progress if you do not have the support of the political leaders. You could say in the same time, food is politics. Agriculture is politics. That's the reason with Rabbi we have a very interesting debate. You know, our community is crossed since probably 20, 25 years by one process which is called integrated water resource management. EWRM. But it's not sufficient, and the water community has not to stay at this moment or later. They stay together, looking outside and saying, no, we do not have to talk with the electricity community, we don't talk to the agriculture, we don't talk to the health community. And that's the reason we are, at this moment, I am talking since more than 15 years about a more horizontal approach for development, which we are calling the 5 fingers. 5 fingers, it's easy to remember. 5 fingers: water, electricity or energy as you want, food, health, and education. And if you are able to feed a community, a village, a city, a nation with these 5 necessary, what can I say? I don't know the word in French, so you cannot translate. Nécessité, perhaps. You could not move to development. You could not be able to give independence first and dignity secondly to the population. Perhaps there is more fingers in the hand. Transportation, complementary between urban and rural, etc., etc. But the pillars are there. And we are working with what I call the pillars of the house of water. What are these 3 pillars? That's the same for electricity. That's the same for food. Knowledge, financing, and governance. If you are able to master these 3 components of development of economy, you could master your change. And so we encourage people and all communities to be able to master these 3 pillars. And just to finish, I would like to say that in the Council, but also in other responsibilities, in other activities, I think, I'm not old. I'm young for a long time. I've been in the same position than you a long time ago. I don't want to say how long, but... I think one of our duty as leaders, as managers, is to help young people to be ready to be able for their next responsibilities. That's the reason I came with part of the staff of the World Water Council. 2 women and 1 man, you can see. And in the staff there is more women than men. In my company also. In my NGO also. More women. There are more and more. And so Valérie Bistan, Catherine and Kevin are there. They will perhaps answer to your questions. Why they are there? Because perhaps, and I hope for you, in a few years you will be in their position, and I hope perhaps in mine. So we have a duty as leaders, as manager, is to prepare a new generation to be able to move to these responsibilities. So that's the reason every place I am coming, I try to meet young people. And this morning, Rabbi could tell you, we have introduced one among others young leaders. We have young governors of the council, which means less than 35 years, and we have some young professionals from all over the world who are joining us and who are working with us, as us, We bring part of our experience, and they bring their ideas. They are fresh, they are innovative, they push us, which is very necessary because sometimes we are sleeping. And so I hope that well, that's what you could do here, push every day, Rabbi, to have a new innovative process, etc. Thank you for hosting, listening us, and we would like, we prefer, my colleague will give you a few words, and after I would be pleased to answer your question to have a more interactive process. Thank you.
Thank you, Loic. So if you look at the title, it's Water Challenges and Opportunities in Lebanon and the Region and the Role of Youth. At this stage, I'd like to introduce the panelists, and I'll start with Baruku Viakwali, who is the member of the council, Board of Council at the World Water Council, and he's the head of corporate affairs at Nairobi Water. So thank you for joining us. And I'm going to introduce the rest of the panelists who, please, as soon as you hear your name, please join us to the podium. Dr. Maya Atiyi, who's the water resource engineer, a lecturer at the Lebanese American University, and the president of the Lebanon Youth Parliament for Water. Maya did not include that she is inaugural president of the Lebanon Water Youth, and I think this room here is a witness of the launch of that organization. So thank you, Maya, for coming back to FAFS. Mr. George Garius, who's an agriculture engineer, water law specialist, and water innovation laboratory in Lebanon. And maybe, George, during your introduction, you can talk about the Water Innovation Lab. And then Ms. Sarah Dia, who's also water quality specialist and also the Water Innovation Laboratory Lebanon coordinator. Thank you all. What I thought we'll do, starting with Baruku, we'll have 2 to 3 minutes. Everybody on the panel will have 2 to 3 minutes of introductory comments, and then we'll open it up for discussion. Mr. Fauchon's directive is that he would like to have this not a one-way, but a two-way dialogue, especially engaging the youth, and all of us are youth, correct? Correct. So, Baruku?
Thank you, Mr. Rabbi. Thank you, Mr. President. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm just taking a few minutes from my president here, 2 minutes. Like you've heard, my name is Baruku Viakwali. I'm a member of the governing body of World Water Council. Before you become a governor, you must represent an organization. And my organization that I represent in that body is called Nairobi City Water and Sewerage Company. We are dealing with, Nairobi is a city, capital city of Kenya, and we have a population of about 4 million people in that capital city, which our work is to provide water to this population. The water that we provide is about 650,000 cubic meters per day. That is the supply that we give to people in Nairobi. And the challenge is we have a deficit of about 150,000 cubic meters per day. So another challenge that we have at Nairobi City Water, much as the president has said, that is one of the strongest and the best utility company in that part of the region, I hear my friend there, engineer, has been introduced as an expert in water loss also. And that is one big challenge that we have in Nairobi City and most of the cities within Africa. So we have up to 35% of the water loss within the city of Nairobi. So that is what we do. And we have occupied these positions, like my president has said. that I'm the head of corporate affairs and the World Water Council. We are looking at, I was where you are about not long time ago, like Fauchon has said, but about over 15 years or 15 years ago, I was where you are. And I'm looking at currently the company, Nairobi City Water and Sewerage Company. We are facing out some engineers, old engineers who have been there for long, and we are going straight to the universities like the way you are here, to the universities in Kenya to get water experts so that we can get the new technologies, so that we can get the new expertise, and so that we can get, we're getting the new morale for people to see that there is a drive in you people. So we are expecting also that in the next 15 years, you will take over from our generations, and we are expecting that you will be doing a much better job than what we have done and what we are doing now. Prof, I'm sure you have the best students here. Yeah, for sure you have the best students, and I'm sure that Lebanon or Beirut is where Nairobi, more or less the same as where we are in Nairobi. So that is what I wanted to say. And if you have any issue on a question that you want to raise about utilities in developing countries, definitely I'll tell you the challenges, water loss. Again, this is the biggest challenge that we will face in any utility within developing country. And you have a big job cut for you. Thank you.
Thank you, Babu. Sarah?
Start with the Good afternoon, everybody. So I was supposed to talk about the current challenges that we face in Lebanon and the role of youth in water resources and the challenges that the youth are facing. So I'm going to try to stay in the 2-minute range, 5-minute range. So I want to start with what are the challenges in Lebanon. Basically, I believe that the challenges in water resources are the same all over worldwide. However, there are more pronounced in regions other than in specific regions. And these challenges are based on the cause of the rapid increase in population, urbanization, and thus the overexploitation of our water resources. Add to that the impacts of climate change. In Lebanon specific, our main water challenge is because we lack a proper water management system. So we have a poor water management system in Lebanon, and because of that, the impacts of improper management and protection of our water resources are exacerbated in terms of water quality and quantity. And when I talk about poor management of our water resources, what do I mean in terms of some data or put them in context? So if you want to talk about the water distribution network, okay, the coverage of the water distribution network in Lebanon varies between the different regions. It goes as low as 62% in the north and as high as 87% in Beirut and Mount Lebanon. Add to that the aging of the network. So we have more than 45% of our networks are older than 30 years. Add to that the intermittent supply because of the intermittent electricity supply. So what should the people do? What the people do is they're overexploiting the water resources. We have a large number of illegal private wells. And then also people need to adapt by getting water trucks or even bottled water. And here we get the problem of the water quality that they are receiving. At another level, if you want to talk about the wastewater network, so in average, Lebanon has a coverage of 60% of wastewater networks, and it goes as low as 32%. It depends on the region. So as an average, yes, and it goes as low as 32% in some regions. And what do people do? They use cesspools, they use septic tanks, and unfortunately, we have the direct discharge into our water bodies. And in fact, the treated wastewater share of the total water consumed in Lebanon is only 8%. We have wastewater treatment plants that are constructed, but they are not working. They are not operational, and the reason is why. we have more than 53 outfalls to our rivers, along the coast, the Lebanese coast. We have direct discharge into our rivers, direct discharge of industrial and solid waste and wastewater, domestic. So we have a problem over here at the institutional level where there is little investment in building the capacity of the water sector institutions. There is fragmentation of water institutions and ineffective coordination, and we have lack of up-to-date information on the water sectors and in all its indicators. There is a gap in the education. We need to encourage the students in order to go into the environment and water fields. We need to encourage them and we need to look at the system in the universities and in the schools. From here, I address the challenges, but of course there are challenges, but for these challenges, these are opportunities for us to improve, and for each problem, there is a solution. And what should we do? First and foremost, we need to recognize that water is vital. We need to recognize as Lebanese that the water is a vital element, and we need to stress on the importance of protecting it. Being able to identify proper mitigation and adaptation measures to save our water resources through policy, awareness, sustainable projects should be our #1 priority. We need to start here with water. This is our priority. You ask me, what can the youth do? What are the challenges? What's the role of the youth? And what are the challenges of the youth? I will tell you where best to start when addressing a national problem such as water than the youth. We, the youth generation, are the ones who are going to be affected by the choices that the generation now are taking regarding water. So the choices you make are affecting us and our future. And this was the purpose of initiating the Lebanese Youth Parliament for Water. So the Lebanese Youth Parliament for Water is a chapter of the World Youth Parliament for Water, initiated by the Youth Committee of the Ibrahim Abdel Al Foundation and the Faculty of Agriculture and Food Science at AUB, and the President of the World Youth Parliament for Water. The Lebanese Youth Parliament for Water defines as its core principles social justice and environmental sustainability. As such, we advocate for management and control of our water resources in a manner that is public, cooperative, participatory, equitable, and not for profit. We acknowledge the need for proper water management system, and we acknowledge the need to have youth participate and lobby water decisions related to our country. As such, we exist to connect the youth who are passionate in water. Our major goals are to advocate for youth inclusion in the decision-making processes of water within the nation, and to raise awareness about the water crisis specific to Lebanon, and to apply youth-led initiatives that promote and solutions that promote SDG 6. The main challenge that we face, as youth is that we need momentum, that we need to continue, and in order to that we need momentum to continue and to thrive. And from here we need to be recognized by our national government and by international organizations. We need to be included in the decision making, and that's what we are asking for. And our questions here will be how can and how does or is the World Water Council supporting such initiatives, and how can we continue to move from here? And at the end, I would like to say that through empowering the youth, educating them, and providing them with proper job opportunities, we are creating leaders for a brighter future. And although all these challenges that I said are hard, we, the youth, have a hard will also. Thank you.
Thank you. George and Sarah.
She's able to make politics now, because you say 2 minutes and she speaks 7 minutes. She's ready.
So actually, but Sarah and George did not know that she has taken dip into their time. So 2 minutes.
Okay, I'll be brief. My colleague Maya talked about the challenges and the opportunities. I will talk more about jobs and job opportunities, because that's one of the main questions that students here at AUB and other universities, they ask what I'm going to do after graduation, where I'm going to work, what I'm going to do. So for that, do you know that 90% of the new jobs that will be created from now till 2025 will be in water-challenged nations like Lebanon? So that's one fact. Another fact is that 30% of desired occupation skill set will change by 2020, and that 50% of occupations will no longer exist by 2030. For that reason, we need to form our, the new students to have new skills in order to be able to work in the future. For that, we need to have people get knowledge in innovation, get knowledge in how to say, in multidisciplinary task, in system thinking, in knowing how to lead in a complex future. And we all know that water and the water sector is a complex structure. So this is why Waterlution, which is a Canadian organization that has been organizing since 15 years water innovation labs all over the world, from Canada to Australia to Mexico and Scotland and the Netherlands. In these labs, they help the young people that have skills in water from different backgrounds. They don't need to be engineers or social scientists or physical scientists or biologists or things like that. They can come from all different backgrounds. They have one goal to manage the water sector and to innovate in this sector. So this is why my colleague Sarah and I are very proud to get this lab in Lebanon that will take place in June, between 8 and 15 June. And we are acknowledged the help of the FAFS, of AUB FAFS, and the UNICEF for organizing this, for helping us organize this. There will be 60 students in a workshop that will be held at the AUB farm, where we will be able to bring together all these students to show them the field. We will take them on field works. They will see and understand the complexity of the water and be able to innovate and understand. And hopefully this lab will be replicated every year in order to form a new bunch of students. And my colleague, I will pass the floor to my colleague Sarah, who will explain a little bit more on this. Thank you.
Thank you. I don't know how much time my colleagues left me. Okay, so mainly what I want to stress on is the youth initiatives as LYPW and as Water Innovation Lab, and me being part of both. The thing is, you see that they have different approaches, yet the main purpose stays one, which is creating an ecosystem, a platform for the young professionals coming out from the educational system and entering into the workforce, to engage them, inspire them, and so that they can feel prepared to their career. We want this ecosystem to host and empower young leaders from Lebanon to become confident and effective in their own communities. So this is the main reason why today we see like LYPW will be a committee partner to ours. So we're not, the youth usually are not in competition. They are collaborating to deal with the issues together. So we acknowledge today the several international and local organizations that supported us, yet we still need the support from the government to institutionalize these efforts. Also, we want the youth to recognize that we are the future of the sector and we need to handle the opportunities and step into leadership. The future will be complex and challenging given the climate change, and we need to be up for that challenge. So today, I would like to ask you if you are ready to join this movement and be part of it. Thank you. This is super precise.
Thank you all. Great ideas, great discussions, and I'd like to open the floor for the audience questions and debates. Dr. Salh.
Yeah, the youngest.
Thank you very much thank you very much for the interesting introductory remarks. One thing I want to mention, which is very relevant to Lebanon and the Middle East and North Africa, is the fact that the resource that you don't measure, you cannot manage very well. Okay? And the only solution for reducing the excessive waste of water, both domestic as well as in agriculture, is to put value in water, which we don't have in this part of the world. I think this is, to me, this is the only solution. A good example is what happened in Jordan where they would give the family of, let's say, 4 or 5 members, they will tell them, okay, per capita, you are entitled free per month that much water. Beyond that, you have to pay dearly. The same thing with agriculture. If you have a farm with acreage and the crops, crop water requirement is that much. Beyond that, you pay dearly. So, frankly speaking, unless we put value on water in Lebanon and in the Middle East and North Africa, we will continue to be wasting water at the time when water is so precious in this part of the world. On Lebanon specifically, we are a mountainous country, and we know that mountains provide 90% globally, 70% of the fresh water resources, and renewable sources of energy, hydropower, solar energy, wind. But in our part of the world, in Lebanon, we have a problem with electricity, we have a problem with water, and we are a mountainous country and blessed with good rain compared to other countries of the region.
Thank you, Dr. Sol. Let's have a few more questions that we can come back to first. You're back.
I would like to ask a question to Dr. Maya. You said that the youth should do something, but you also said that all the initiatives happen through the government. But like in general, the government is always inefficient, and especially in Lebanon. So my question is, what is our role? What can we do as the young educated people who are graduating from AUB as an own initiative to help the water sector?
It is not a question, it is more a concern. I believe in youth, of course, and Maya is from the foundation initiative. We have the foundation of the Youth Committee, we are pushing them, and supporting them. But I have a concern with youth sometimes, that they shouldn't also keep away the elderly. And you have the experience, the elder people, the elder experience, the people that were in the government institutions, they have to take their advice. They have not to say, you are old, you go home and we take the lead. And there should be linkages and cooperation between old and new generations. This is, for me, primordial.
We'll take one more question before. Go ahead.
Well, maybe this is a question for the representative of the World Water Council.
We couldn't hear.
Can I push your microphone?
Yes.
Speak as a demonstrator in the streets.
So a question for the World Water Council and the representatives of the World Water Council. As you have hinted on your different notes, that the water sector is not just an independent sector to look at and solve independently, that there are these linkages between water, energy, agriculture, and all of these different sectors. And as such, like treating water problems on their own might not work if we're not treating the problems in the other sectors. Or like inefficiencies in other sectors are leading to water problems and so forth. And these things require also, as you said, some legal aspects, some changes in the legal aspects and some policy generally more than technical water related solutions. So I would just like to hear your thoughts on this and any success stories that you had, because this is very relevant to us. Thank you.
Before we go back to the panel, there's one question in the back.
Hello. My question is basically addressed to the World Water Council and the members of the committee. Now, the colleagues said, basically at first I'd like to say that the Lebanese Youth Parliament for Water is a great initiative, and it's an amazing initiative. We listed a lot of challenges, and maybe we can have some solutions. In my personal opinion, the youth are actually doing their part, at least at the educational level. But all the challenges that were listed were actually summed up by Dr. Loic when he said that water is politics. Now, you also said that the WWC deals with up to 70 governments. So my main question is, how does the WWC deal with these governments at the political level? So this might help us as a country when we come up with the solutions and all the innovations for the challenges of the water sector. How can we deal with these political problems at the country level? Thank you.
5 questions to my count. Loic, would you like to start?
Okay, first I'm actually very happy that you asked me this question, because being concerned is the first step. At the Lebanese Youth Parliament for Water, first and foremost, I want to ask you as the youth to join us on our Facebook page to be part of the solution and to be members with us. We have a Facebook page for the Lebanon Youth Parliament for Water. The second thing that I want to say. Okay, so basically youth, we say youth at heart, but it should be 30%.
It's okay. You're welcome.
So what have we been doing? We have been working relentlessly, actually, for the past 4 months. We have worked on dividing ourselves into 3 different groups: an awareness and advocacy group, a research group, and a policy group. And each group is responsible for a bit of tasks in order to implement our objectives. So we have a lot of objectives. We have a shared vision. Our shared vision is a list of steps. Some are promoting academic collaboration, implementing and enforcing standards that meet international standards when talking about water quality, finding mechanisms to integrate water into the educational system, being part of the decision making. So we have a lot of objectives and I want to say they are very high objectives that we really aim to reach. However, we are working hard, and we have divided each other, and we've actually, within 4 months, we have been at the regional consultations on climate change, and we've delivered a statement on climate change. We also did a workshop, and we're doing more workshops on including the youth and letting them know the importance of water, for them to get involved in water and go into the university wanting to do a water degree or an environmental degree, to be concerned. So being concerned is our first step, and later on we are working at the policy note. So we have some people working at the participation of the youth and participation of the public in the projects, and and we are also working on some research, collecting the data that is being done, and because in Lebanon it's very hard to find the data, and in order to do any research. So we're trying to collect these data and have them in a platform. Thank you. It's a lot of work, I know.
I understand you don't like so much the politician, but I have sort of duty of reserve. But I didn't say to you, I forget to say to you, my company, Marseille Water Supply Company, is working in Lebanon since 10 years. We are working with the Beirut and Mount Lebanon Company and others. So I could say I've been here a lot of times. I could say I know a little about water situation in Lebanon, and mostly Beirut and around Beirut. Situation is very complex, and the situation is very bad. You are not a poor country. You are not perhaps the richest in the world, but you are not a poor country. There's a lot of money in this country. There's a lot of money also coming from outside, from the Lebanese community all over the world. You have three main problems around water. When we say water, it's water and sanitation. It means water and sanitation. First is the issue of resource. You do not have sufficient resource from winter time to summertime, and for the different uses, as it has been said. So you need to have more what I call aquatic reserves, which is a form of more intelligent, more integrated dams in the future. You have some controversy concerning one dam around here, but you need more capacity to stock water. If you do not do that with the increasing of population and perhaps climate evolution, you will not be able to face the strong demand, because your demand is growing. Because when a country, the people of a country are more educated, they have a level of life more and more important, they consume more water. This is the first problem. Be able to construct a reserve from one year to the other, not only from winter to summer. For you, and after there's a problem of the sub-region. Secondly, you have to supply more efficiently. The average in Beirut, we have calculated it during 2 years of campaign, is around 50 to 55%. I talked, there is no journalist here? No. I can talk to you frankly. That's a shame. That's a shame. Because you have a network average which is one of the shortest in the world.
Could you define the efficiency that
I mean not the commercial, the technical efficiency of the network. You put 2 liters at the entry of the network, you have only 1 liter for the population.
But it's not only leakage. There's a lot of unaccounted...
No. First leakage. And after there's the commercial one, which is adding. So that's a very bad situation, which is not really talked by the operator and the ministries. I talk to you very frankly. There's problem in all countries, but here you have a very, very bad efficiency of your network. It costs to repair, it costs to find, it does not cost so much to find. We have today innovative solutions which allow to find the leaks with a car. You go through the street and you find step by step the leaks. It costs more to repair. But how can you expend money to have more reserve and in the same time lose 50% or more? This is not a good. So it's really, and the third problem is sanitation. You have more than 50 sanitation sewage treatment plants which are not working, which have been made very efficiently. Some are very modern, and they don't work. They don't work because there is not the organization, the management to do that. That's a huge problem, but this is first a question of political will. This is secondly a question of governance. The good governance at the good moment in the good place. You have very nice and very impressive experts who are sometimes working abroad in countries and in France. So You cannot say you have not the knowledge. You have the knowledge, but you have a problem in the link between what I call the three pillars: knowledge, financing, and governance. You have the money. You have the money. You have the knowledge, but you do not have really the political will and the governance. It's like I was reading all these debates since I am here since Friday about electricity. That's a question of political will. That's a question of organization. You have everything to be able to deserve the population. So it's not criticism. It's just to show that you do not miss anything more to move to a very safe water situation. Knowledge, financing, and political will, governance. Excuse me, I've been very frank.
Thank you. Sarah?
Yes. Okay, to go back to what you actually... Sorry. So I cannot agree with you more, because definitely we have the knowledge, we can see it within our everyday life, and we have financing to some extent, we get the support, we are able to get the funds, but later on when it gets to the implementation part, this is where everything goes wrong. So eventually water is politics, as you said, and eventually this is why this youth program or whatever we're trying to do here will never be, will never have the impact that we wanted unless we are acknowledged by the government, unless we are part of this institution, unless we have these within our policies and laws. So thank you for that. And with regards to the young people attending here and asking us how can we work on the challenges, so definitely this is a start. We are aware that there's problems and we are aware of our role. So we're asking you to step into this leadership programs, into this initiative, whenever you have the opportunity to step in, to be part of this, to get as much as you can and take it back to your community. So this is basically what we want to achieve today and what we're looking to transfer this message. So thank you.
Comments to any of the questions?
Thank you. I think mine is just a general one. From what has been said about the loss, I'm still going back to the water losses, because that is a subject that needs to be addressed. I don't know how much Beirut loses in terms of water loss, if I may ask. You said 52. Yeah, I think that is where the president was saying what he was saying. We are going through the same experience. I want to share the experience with you. We are going through the same experience, only ours is just about 35. But ours is not so much on physical losses. It's on commercial. And here, then there's an issue of cartels also. And I'm sure you're going through the same I don't know, but I want to believe that that is what you're going through. I want to throw the challenge back to the youth again, that you will have a bigger role to play in making sure that you reduce this non-revenue water. Your role is to see that I'm sure most of the youth, in most parts of the world, the youth will know exactly where the problem is in the field there. They know who is a cartel, they know who is doing funny businesses. So I'm sure even in water sector, that is what, So you have a bigger role to ensure that the cartel issue does not happen. You go and, assist the government. Political will here is key. That even in our case, we are reducing that because we are getting a lot of support now from the government in terms of we know where there is illegal connections, where there are cartels. We are given security, maximum security, in some cases, administration, police, and even where it is even more lethal, will be given the police or even army. So that is the support, the political will that we are talking about. But I think that is one extra source of water that if you are able to reduce just 5%, that is a lot of water that can go to other areas.
Yeah. I would like to tell Dr. Loïc Fauchon that as well, I cannot agree more than you on the fact that water is politics. I'm currently doing my PhD in water law in Lebanon, and I know very well the small problems of laws, and especially indigenous laws that we have in Lebanon, and the politics around water. And I want to jump to the students. I want to tell them that you can start here at the UB with any degree that you can get here, especially if you are here at agriculture, and then you can move on to on your master degree to get into water sector. There's a lot of masters. I started here 16 years ago. I see some of my professors here. And I moved to, I got my degree in integrated water resource management, and then I'm doing now in water law. So I know what is it to join all these different disciplines that are agriculture, water management, and water law. And then I would just want to answer the question of Mrs. Iman about not forgetting the less young youth and. Yeah, and I want to tell her and to tell everyone that in the Water Innovation Lab that we are organizing in summer, in the beginning of summer, we are inviting a lot of resource guests. And resource guests are people that have a lot of experience in the sector of water, in the different sectors of water. We are inviting them to join during all the days or some days, and to give and to mentor the students that are participating in this. So we are not forgetting them.
I know, because with the elder, you have the memory.
Yeah.
The memory is there, the experience.
And the experience. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you all. We'll take a couple more questions only because we have another commitment here. So the three young gentlemen.
I was first. No, I was okay, I'll go first. Well, in this country, about 80% of water is used in agriculture. If we, as Dr. Surah said, if we can somehow put a charge on water and train farmers not to waste water, or reduce the waste of water, and we can assume we can save only 10% of the agricultural water, then we can double what is available for the domestic, and it's easy to say, but it is one way to go, because we can save much more from the 80%, and definitely we have to fix the pipes and stop the leakage. That's very important. And my other question is to George. You mentioned that 90% of the jobs in the future will be in water.
No.
Where the number 90%?
No. 90% of jobs will be in countries that have water problems.
In water challenged nations.
Well, okay, how did you come with the number 90?
It's a number by McAfee that published in a paper two years ago, I guess, that said that more than 500 million new jobs will be created, 90% of which will be in water challenged nations. So that's what
So we will have every jobs in Canada and Brazil.
water challenge, Spain could be a water challenge country.
Well, he took the wind from under my sails. That's practically mainly what I was going to say about the agricultural water. But again, it all comes back to politics, as we say. We need to remember that in Lebanon, we subsidize two crops, tobacco and potato. Two crops that should not be planted in Lebanon, that are irrigated in the summer. It's my opinion. Okay? Because the agriculture people don't like that. I mean, we're the only country in the world that still subsidizes tobacco, a very water requiring crop that is harmful to us. And planting potatoes in Lebanon is more costly than importing potatoes to Lebanon. And they are very water thirsty.
So it's not only that, 80% of the Ministry of Agriculture budget goes
to those subsidies. And I rest my case.
Well, very soon they are going to
Quickly,
substitute for your information.
I hope so.
Very quickly, just to make sure that when we talk about politics, not to, to differentiate that. Of course, governance and politics are very important. When it comes especially to the lack of coordination between the ministries, because water is a multi-sectoral issue. But we also have not to forget the external politics and the fact that a substantial amount of water in Lebanon, especially, is transboundary water. So this is also, we should, not forget this and picture the situation as if it's internal politics.
Thank you. 30 seconds, because we have to be putting in 2 minutes. 30 seconds each of the panelists. Last comment and any response to the question?
I think that is just, again, a general comment. I want to concur with Iman there, what she has just said, my friend, that about the age experience. We should not just go and say that the youth must take over everything. Yeah, I agree with you, the youth must not, they should be guided. That is one. Then two is World Water Council has a flagship. And the flagship of World Water Council is a forum called World Water Forum. This is the biggest, the largest water gathering of experts internationally, globally. It takes place after every 3 years. Today, the president just unveiled a youth who will be a youth leader. He has said about it, under your youth. The next forum will be in Senegal, Dakar, Senegal, in 2021. I want to appeal again here, Prof, President, these are the youth, very promising, the ones that are sitting in front of us here. And those who are here in agriculture and water sector, that we want to make sure that a good number of them make some presentations or actively participate during this forum for your own exposure. Thank you.
Very quickly, Sarah, any comments, last words?
I just want to thank everyone who attended, and to go back to the elder and the youth, we definitely have the elders' experience with our, throughout our education. We get our experience from there. Throughout our training, we get the experience from there. So we do acknowledge their participation there, and we do collaborate with, or we hope to collaborate with each other to learn from their old mistakes and try to make a better future for Lebanon and the world.
Okay, I want to know, I just wanted to say that obviously we know the challenges, obviously we know the solutions, okay? And we are working, as the youth, we are working very hard in order to address these solutions. We really want change, but in order to do that, we need support, we need to be recognized, we need to acknowledge first and foremost by our government, we need the recognition, and then by the international organizations in order for us to continue and work for the best of Lebanon. Thank you.
Thank you, Maya. George?
Just one word for the students who have always asked question where I'm going to work when I graduate. Don't always think in this way. Don't think where I will work. Think more in an entrepreneurial thinking and say, okay, I will graduate, and then I will create something, and then I will sell it, and then I will be. And for this, we have a lot of innovation labs, such our labs, or another lab that is called Agri-Tech. It's under the Berry-Tech BD. So don't think where I will work, think what I will do and how I will create something. Thank you.
Loic,
You have the last word.
Thank you. First, sir, you're right. You have a sub-regional responsibility also. And there's one word for that, hydro-diplomacy. This word has been created in Lebanon 20 years ago. And it could be part of the future of some students. There is not only the technical issues, there's a political one, first. Secondly, with the permission of my financial officer, director, as you have begun the first part of the proposal, the council under your authority and the authority of this lady, who is a great lady, who has been governor of the council. We will invite 3 students to Dakar to participate in 2 years. Up to you to organize the selection, okay?
Thank you. Thank you all for this wonderful, enriching, and exciting session to be continued. Thank you all for participation.
Thank you.